Hi everyone. How you all doing? Oh, I can see we've got some people commenting already. This is great. Hi Sarah, how are you doing today? Hi Valerian. Oh, Smilesy. You've just changed your name. Awesome. Hi, excellent carrot cake. I hope you're all having a good Sunday. Thank you for spending some of it with me today. We've got 5 people already. This is awesome. Thank you very much for joining the live stream today. How's your weekend been, guys? Hopefully you've had a good one and a good end to August. So, as always, we are here to discuss a book, and in particular, today we're going for Babel. I have so many thoughts on Babel. I'm really excited for this live stream. I feel like it's going to be a good hour. Hola, Rushi. We're still waiting for that cake recipe. That we are. It always makes me so hungry every time I see the username. I feel like I need to come prepared with cake for these live streams. Hello, it's me, bestie. How are you? How's everybody been? Sorry, I'm just trying to stop my phone from coming up with a load of notifications. Just one sec, because it's quite distracting. I'm just trying to put it on Do Not Disturb, but I don't know how I do that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Now I can pay full attention to the live stream. Hello, Kalu. How's everybody doing? I'm good, thank you. Oh, it's so nice to see so many people here. 9 people already, and we've been going for a minute and a half. 10 people. That might be a record. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. So what are we here to do today? Of course, we're here to talk about Babel. Did everybody finish this book before we get started? Because obviously there will be spoilers in this live stream. Oh my goodness, I've just realized we have the fan thing again. Oh, we have the leaderboard. Sarah's in the lead with 150 XP. Smilesy is close in second. Bestie's also close in third. Okay. We're adding a bit of competition to the live stream from now on, it would appear. Bestie finished Babel 1 hour ago. Wow, you were cutting it close. I'm very impressed. You started a bit late. You read 580 pages the last 2 days. That would have taken me forever. I don't think I could read over 500 pages in 2 days. Oh my goodness, that is a lot. I think I normally average about 50 or 60 pages a day, normally, and that's me being fast. Big up. I'm very impressed. 100 XP, Rushy, yeah. Oh, Benjamin's here as well. Awesome. Oh, Sarah, did you not finish Babel? But you're here anyway. Well, I'm so sorry if we finish. Not if we finish, if we spoil the ending of Babel for you. How much did you get into it? How far into Babel are you, Sarah? How do you get XP? I'm pretty sure it's just by commenting and doing some other stuff. Oh, Rushy, you don't need to send me money, but it has made you number 1 on the leaderboard. So you don't have to pay your way to the top, but I think it does help. Thank you very much, Rushy. I really do appreciate that. So Bestie read the German version. It's a bit longer because of the translation. Wow, awesome. That does make a lot of sense. Oh, you sent me an ice cream? Awesome. Oh, I could do with an ice cream though now. Oh, carrot cake flavored ice cream. That would be nice. So Sarah read the last chapter and the epilogue. Oh, is that all that you read? So you didn't read any of the rest of the book, just the last last chapter and the epilogue. That's funny. But you got to page 256. I see. So you got to page 256 and then you skipped to the last chapter. Do you need us to tell you what happened in between? Or did you Google it? Do you know what happened in between? Rushy, pay to win. Callum Rushworth, author, is here. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Excited to hear your thoughts on this. I'm excited to hear everybody else's thoughts on this book. Kalu finished it on Thursday. Why do you skip so much? Yeah, I feel like a lot happened actually in the part that you would have skipped, Sarah. I feel like my favorite parts of the book were probably in the bit that you totally skipped. Whoa, excellent carrot cake. Goodness, cake for next month, no recipe, unfortunately. That's fine. You've made it worth my while. That has just given you 700 XP. Goodness. Wow. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. There was, oh, I can like that. Can I like that? It says I can like it, but then it's shaded out. Oh, there we go. I've love hearted it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I definitely need to bring cake to these live streams. I think we should all bring a snack to these live streams. That would be cute. These always make me so hungry. I've just had my tea as well, but I'm still hungry. I know, Sarah, you're fed now. It's okay. You commented first. That's a win. Rushy can't afford to keep up with the big spenders. No one needs to be a big spender. No, this is a free live stream. Obviously, it's appreciated, but there's never any pressure. So, for me, reading is about the way, but people are different. I agree, bestie. And that's kind of my reason why I don't tend to DNF books very often, even if I'm not enjoying it, because it is all about the journey. And like, I always want to know what happens, but I don't just want to Google what happens. Like, I don't want to skip to the end and I don't want to Google how does the book finish. I'd rather read it myself. Um, I mean, that if you've got the time to do that, because obviously if you are reading a book you're not enjoying, it might be a bit of a waste of time forcing yourself to finish it. But I just can't DNF books for that very reason. Wow, do we need to buy our way to the top? Hopefully not. Hopefully this will not become a paid competition book club live stream. It kind of removes the wholesome aspect from it, but obviously it makes me feel great. You have some stewed apple. Oh my goodness. Oh, you didn't Google the in between. You ran out of time. So Sarah, do you actually know what happened? We will probably spoil it for you today. Let's be honest. So speaking of favorite bits, because I did say the bit that Sarah probably skipped, the bit that Sarah skipped is probably what is my favorite part, and that's all the bit on the boat. Did you read any of the bit on the boat, Sarah, where they went on the boat to, where did they go? Where did they go? They were all going on the trip, and now I can't remember where they were going, and that's really, really ignorant of me. Where is it where they were going? Began with a C. It began with a C. Yes, thank you, Kelly. It was Canton. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so no, Sarah didn't read the bit on the boat. Roshi says, stop babbling and start talking about Babel. Babble, babble, babble. Let's talk about it. So that was my favourite bit. What was everybody else's favourite bit? So my bit was the bit on the boat because of all the drama that happened. It was a crazy voyage. Obviously, stuff went down. Major stuff in the plot. Potentially the demise of a main character happened on that boat, on that very boat. And I feel like that's where the pacing ramped up big time. I felt like from that point forward, the book just seemed to like race till the end. Like it was so fast paced. I felt like the book was kind of like slow and steady prior to that trip. And then as soon as they were on the boat, it was like bam, it was so fast. So Benjamin has made a very insightful point that was much more insightful than mine. The origin of words, how they evolve. Yeah, I never made the connection that the word discuss comes from the Greek sport of discuss, like a frisbee being thrown around. Goodness, that's very thought-provoking, isn't it? Yeah, but I did feel like I learned a lot from this book that I potentially may have never have known. There's obviously a huge significance around language, words, like Benjamin said, how they evolve. I thought it was very, very insightful, and actually a lot of the footnotes were quite helpful for that because it would come up with the different languages, and then it would tell you what it meant in the other languages. And obviously the whole purpose of this book is about finding like matching pairs to power up the silver bars. So it's just really interesting to see the specifics behind that. So Sarah got to when they got to the summer after their third year. So that probably, yeah, because I think they had a fourth year, and then after their fourth year was when they went on the boat. I'm trying to think of what would have happened. You got out of it smarter. I did. I feel like a more intelligent person by reading this book. Actually, that's a complete lie. I feel very, very dumb because RF Kuang's writing style is very intellectual. This is a smart gal. Um, One of Kalu's favorite bits was when they are at the party and the girls get all dressed up. Yeah, and after they get the towel, yeah, and find their real people. Do you know what I liked about that bit? How the boys were viewing the girls differently, because obviously prior to that point, the girls were kind of having to like pretend to be boys. They were kind of, they would never focus on their appearances that much. They kind of just like had to strip things back so as not to draw attention to themselves, because obviously they are women in a predominantly male cohort and a very like male, like, in terms of students at the institute. So I liked that that was the first bit where both Robin and Rami saw the girls for like something a bit different. Like they saw them in a way that they never had done before. I quite liked that bit. You did the audiobook and the footnotes were read by a person that knew the languages. So she had the perfect pronunciation. See, I would have really valued that. And that's where I think it might have been a preference to listen to the audiobook instead, because I was reading words knowing that I was butchering how it was pronounced. I mean, I don't even know what was going through my brain, but it was not the words on the page for half of it. So I really wished I could have like learned how it was pronounced, because then I might have learned a little bit more about the language. So that's a really good point. Um, Bestie's kind of interested in languages, or to be more precise, the evolution of them. Yeah. And that was like a huge part of this book as well. It was really interesting. I've definitely never read a book that is like this, or that has this theme. I was going to say plot, but it wasn't really like the plot that was different. It was like the general theme or what it was based on. Um, Dumb question. No such thing, Sarah. No such thing as a dumb question. Did your version have the Mandarin characters printed on the pages? I got a PDF version without, just blanks. Yeah, I definitely had the characters, and like the sim are they called symbols? That's probably me being ignorant. But yeah, mine had the actual image of the word, like the actual character. Um, Especially all the Mandarin turns, which is super hard. Yeah, I can imagine. And especially as well because the ways that they're able to like say um certain like phrases together is quite different. You know how it's like in I'm trying to think of, places where we would pronounce it like ch, but other places would pronounce it like huh. Things like that. I'm not explaining myself very well. I'm not a linguist. There are a lot of English words which I learned from Latin. Yeah, really did like the kind of evolution of the languages. Sorry, I'm just laughing at the chat. um, Languages in the famous words of Sabrina Carpenter. Arrivederci, au revoir. Pardon my French, but I'm not going to say that starred out because I'll get banned. I almost did it. You almost got me. Demonetized. Callie's made a very brilliant point that I wanted to get onto as well, was about the level of fantasy. So Callie says it's not really a fantasy world. It is our world with the silver magic. That is why the social commentary is so poignant. 100%. So this is probably one of the like fantasy books that I've read that has the lowest amount of fantasy, but the fantasy elements are very, very significant. Like, yes, the only part of this book that is fantasy related is the silver magic work. It's such a small like change that doesn't exist in our world, but it's so significant. Like it created the whole plot. Like everything relied on this silver work. So I kind of like that it was such a small amount of fantasy, but it was really, really important. Like it had a lot of emphasis on it. I think that's always the risk if you're going to write a book that doesn't really have much fantasy in it. You've got to make the fantasy elements feel like they are relevant or feel like they have a point or a purpose. And this one definitely did. The magic system of translation was very unique. I completely agree. It was fun seeing what different word combos they come up with. Yeah, I think that was one of the most enjoyable parts for me, was seeing the different matching pairs. Um, And how if they got, like, a word ever so slightly wrong, then, like, the bar wouldn't work, like, the magic wouldn't work. So they had to get it, like, exactly right. I did enjoy that, and I thought that that shows how deeply RF Kuang has, like, plotted this world, or, like, she's really thought it through how it would work if it was real, if that makes sense. Oh, very interesting point. I thought the silver magic is an analogy to the AI craze of our times. That's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. But that makes a whole lot of sense. And actually, it's quite scary how fast things can develop and take over because you've got to think like the silver magic in this basically takes over like everything. The way that the way that countries run. So towards the end, when they were kind of taking over the Babel Tower and there was no more access to silver, the entirety of Oxford and London just basically broke down. Like nothing was working. Sewage was going everywhere. People were losing their homes. People couldn't have access to water. Like everything was breaking down. Transportation wasn't working. Like everything relied on this silver. And it was the same in other countries as well. Other countries weren't developing as well because they didn't have access to the silver. So it just goes to show how something so like small can essentially take over. And I'm worried that's going to happen with AI. That's my existential crisis that I'm going through at the moment. Where did I get up to? The magic system perfectly showed the butterfly effect, especially in the end. Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's why it was such a powerful book as well. Like it really does show the effect and like the domino effect of how something small can have a knock-on effect on loads and loads of other things and just create this big, massive problem. Um, I did feel Kwan could be a bit heavy-handed at times in getting her point across, especially with the footnotes. Yeah, the people who said that this was dense prior to me reading it, and there was so many reviews saying it's great, but it's dense. That is so so true. Like this is such a dense, detailed, deep book. It's not an easy read. It was very very heavy. Um, and yeah, I think that's why at times I felt a bit thick reading it. How whoever controls AI will control the world. Yeah, AI will be power, unfortunately. Sometimes the critical footnotes felt like she was saying, "This is why this bad thing is bad." It's like she didn't trust the reader to find their own conclusions. Yeah, and actually, I wanted to talk about the footnotes because this is something that I know is like a controversial opinion, or it kind of differs. Some people love the footnotes, some people not so much. I personally think the footnotes were informative, but not always necessary. And I was sometimes reading the footnotes and thinking, why is that there? I think the only ones that were the most vital and the ones that were the most helpful were the ones where it would have like a language character. So if it had like Chinese character or it kind of showed what the word looks like in that language. That's the only time where I felt like really interested in the footnotes. Otherwise, I was reading them and thinking, you're like information dumping on me right now. You're kind of like firing all this heavy information at me rather than allowing me to make my own interpretation. So that's my only thing with the footnotes. I kind of sit in the middle of like, I don't hate them, but I didn't think they were completely necessary. I don't know. What do you guys think about the footnotes? Because it's just an interesting way to do a book. I'm sorry if I'm waving this around everywhere. I feel like I am. Um, Callum Rushworth has put, interestingly, the footnotes were my only problem with this book, seem to be used more for the sake of using it. Yeah. Yeah. I think she was definitely trying to add them like as frequently as she could, but I think she could have maybe stripped it back a bit and not had quite as many. Um, so yeah, but overall, I did really enjoy this book. It was different, it was thought provoking, and it also had very, very deep themes. Um, Sometimes very uncomfortable themes as well. Actually, there was a lot of this book that was very kind of difficult to consume just because of the nature of it. It's not an easygoing book. It's not a feel good book, but I didn't expect it to be. I kind of expected it was going to be like heavy and thought provoking and hard hitting. Um, Sarah says the only odd thing for me was the American teen dialogue between the four friends. Oh, that's interesting. So kind of like I suppose we might call it banter, like the ways that they kind of communicate with each other, maybe the jokes that they had, the way that they speak to each other. I think it is a very different friendship dynamic. Like it's definitely like I don't want to say like an odd group of friends, an unlikely group of friends. I think that's the word. Calling them odd is just a bit mean, isn't it? In the beginning, some footnotes used to explain English words and their origin. They helped a lot to understand this because I wouldn't understand it without them. Yeah. So I think that's it. Some of the footnotes aided the understanding or allowed us to kind of learn a bit more about the language. But then further down the line, some of them felt like heaving a load of information that maybe we didn't always need, or maybe just made me quite confused. Terry Pratchett used footnotes a lot in his books, but he did a great job with them, always insightful and hilarious. Oh, that's interesting. I've never read any Terry Pratchett before. I was actually in Waterstones yesterday and I did see some, so I'm tempted. But that's really interesting to know because I think what was the other book that I read that had a load of footnotes? There was another one that had a load of footnotes, but it was like more like comments rather than like firing information. It was more like funny comments that they just added a bit more like satire to the book, and it worked really well when something serious was going on. I liked the footnotes again, maybe because they dug into the proper pronunciations and origins of the words. Yeah, those are the types of footnotes that I enjoyed. Was when it was around the languages and the words. Those are the ones I enjoyed the most. But I can see some of the historical facts being a bit heavy-handed. Yeah, you've basically summed up my opinion in a better way than I ever did. The ones around the language were the great ones for me, but the ones that were more based on the historical facts and just the info dumping were the ones where I felt they were a bit unnecessary. Not quite a 19th century custom of interacting between people from different, yeah. And actually, I didn't realize prior to reading this that it was going to be set in the past. Like, I didn't know it was a historical fiction. So I was quite surprised at that. So yeah, like it's like the 1800s, isn't it? So I don't know how much, like, you can't really fact check those things. Like, I wouldn't know how a group of friends would speak to each other in the 1800s. I just have to trust that RF Kuang has done her research to get it pretty accurate, but I can't like fact check it. So when you're saying that it feels like odd, like American teen dialogue, who knows? Maybe that's how they spoke to each other in the 1800s. I have no idea, but it does feel very unnatural at times. Oh, Benjamin, I saw Guards Guards. That was what I saw in Waterstones. Maybe I should have got it. I'll have to go back. There was loads of other ones there as well, but I really can't remember the titles of them. But I keep like seeing bits, and I keep like online, and it keeps like coming into my head if I need to order some now. So that might be on my TBR soon. It was challenging, but I really liked the writing style. I want to read more of R.F. Kuang. Yes, I think there is no doubting that she is an incredible author. I think that's one of the key points I wanted to say today was that she's very, very talented. This book is very well written. There is no denying that. Like, she's a very, very good author. Um, so yeah, and I think I would read more from her. Um, oh yeah, her new one. Her new one's out. I keep seeing that all over the other app, TT, that I don't think I can say on this because I don't think YouTube likes it if I say the other app's name. But I keep seeing that everywhere. Lots of people have that. Lots of people have said to go into that book reading a lot of research, or like RF Kwan's released a list of recommended reads before you go into that one. So that's interesting. I've never had to read a fictional book where I've had to do a lot of research before it, but who knows? But I would read another book by her for sure. Benjamin says, I felt it was an interesting choice that soon after the friends meet, the narrator reveals that one of them in particular will betray the others. Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. And actually, so yeah, it didn't really come as a surprise to me. Like, to be fair, nothing about the plot came as a surprise to me. I'm not saying it's predictable, but there was no like plot twist to me. There was nothing that was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But they did still hit really hard. So, like we said earlier, the stuff on the boat where Robin obviously gets very, very angry at Professor Lovell, and it may end in the professor's demise. I kind of saw that coming, not in that way, but I kind of saw that something similar to that was gonna happen, but it was still shocking, like, it was still like, "Oh my goodness, it's now happened." Like, it was still action-packed at that point. So, I enjoyed it, but I kind of saw it coming. But maybe that was intentional by RF Kuang. Like, I don't think I can give myself credit for guessing that. I think that was definitely a stylistic choice from RF Kuang to kind of make us go in that direction. Um, it built up a sense of dread as you see their insurmountable differences leading to cracks in the relationships. Absolutely. And actually, the two girls were having conflict for ages, like ages before Letty betrayed them. Um, they were both bickering all the time. They're on completely different wavelengths. It was a shame because they started off being kind of pals, but then you could definitely see the tension just building and building. Um, so yeah, it was it was a shame. But I also at the end didn't quite understand Letty's reasoning. I kind of did and I kind of didn't. It didn't feel like very deep. It didn't feel like a deep meaning to me as to why she betrayed them. I still don't really understand why she did it. Um, did someone read it with a migration background? I guess it can be even more interesting in this case. That is a very good point. Because obviously, like with a story like this, it will feel very, very different for different people depending on their past experiences. So I would love to like speak to somebody who's maybe been through a similar thing to what the main characters went through. Because obviously, I can't relate, but it was very, very interesting to hear about it. So I'd love to know the perspective from somebody who can relate to that. Oh, got a sore throat already. I am not a native English speaker, moved to the US for university. Awesome. So, were there any parts of this book that you like resonated with? Did you kind of feel similar to how Robin did in certain parts of this book? Because obviously he had to travel from over to Oxford to yeah, for university essentially, wasn't it? So yeah, it'd be interesting to to hear about people who've experienced that because that's not something that I've ever been through, but I can definitely see why, Robin kind of struggled with this sense of adjustment and sense of belonging as well. I think that was another point in this book actually, because one of the characters actually says this to Robin was like, "You've been given a lot of privilege. Like you've come here and your scholarship is paid for. Like you can study at this prestigious university, you can live your life in Oxford." But then Robin is still saying, "Yeah, but I've left my home country. I don't actually know whether or not Professor Lovell is my father at this point." Um, he also knows that his parents have, his mother passed away. Like he's had to literally uproot his entire life to move over to Oxford. So I think it was kind of that sense of, yeah, I suppose you could be given a like privilege in that sense if you're looking at it objectively, but in a way, he's still been through an awful lot and is still struggling with that sense of belonging. So I thought that was a really interesting theme that I think RF Kwan presented really well, and it kind of shows why this whole like rebellion happened. Um, leaving your country, adapting to a new language, realizing how much language defines your personality. Yeah, 100%. Do you feel like this book captured that well? Because obviously, I feel like it did, but I don't know for sure because I've never been through something like that. So that's just me from like a oblivious point of view thinking, yeah, she displayed that point really well. But do you feel like she did? Do you feel like that represented it well? Just let me know if I'm asking too many personal questions. When at first I couldn't speak English very fluently and felt like I was going to start losing my native tongue, I thought I was going to become a mute. That's funny. Yeah, I can't actually. It really has just kind of sunk in how difficult that must be. I mean, I know that sounds so basic, but like it actually must be like incredibly difficult to be in a place where they don't speak the language that you naturally speak, and you're having to kind of relearn everything. Um, yeah, I mean, I tried to speak a bit of Portugal when I went to Portugal, and I tried to speak a bit of Italian. Did I just say I tried to speak a bit of Portugal? Tried to speak a bit of Portuguese. See, this is why countries won't let me in anymore. Migration background abroad. Yeah, so kind of like having to uproot your life, essentially, migrate somewhere else, move country, but particularly in one where the culture is very different or the language is very different, and you're basically just having to adjust and adapt to everything. Oh, yeah, it's really profound that we never find out Robin's birth name, even when it's mouthed out loud in a memory at the end. See, I loved that part of it. Um, that was actually something that very unrelated, but something that I really liked about the Lies of Loch Lamora is that you, so far, obviously, I'm halfway through book two, but so far, like, you haven't ever learned Loch's name. All you know is that it's not Loch Lamora, and I really like that. So I liked that part about Robin as well, that you don't actually know what his name is. I do. I love when authors do that. Um, Callum's loving learning Italian. Awesome. How's that going for you? Oh, he's put some Italian in there. Let's go. Io amore studio italiano. There you go. It's like I'm native. Bestie's currently learning Swedish, but just because it's kind of funny. Go on then, tell us something in Swedish. As long as it's not mean. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know if it was mean or not. You could tell me anything and I wouldn't know. Um, my English is quite good, I guess. Sarah, your English is very good. Your English is phenomenal. Your English is better than my English. Imagine learning slash reading Shakespeare for the first time in Spanish and how the translator needs to be almost as good as the original author. Do you know what? It gives me the like maddest respect for people like that, for people like that. Honestly, my phrasing tonight has been so ignorant. For people who know multiple languages or people who have to translate stuff, like it's genuinely such a skill. Like the amount of stuff you have to retain in your brain in order to do that, especially if you do it for multiple languages as well. I don't know how people do it. It's just so impressive. You interacted with French via work, so that was easy peasy. Oh, okay, cool. We're getting some new languages in the chat. Se or no se. I'm not going to try and pronounce any of the following stuff because I will offend the country that it is coming from. Okay, something about a dilemma. No, no. I know I can translate no. Wow, Sarah, that looks so pretty. The characters just look so pretty. I feel like English just looks so boring when other people write their stuff. Wow, the Welsh word for microwave is popty ping. I'm gonna say that every day. I'm gonna find a reason to say that every day. That is incredible. Thank you so much for that information, Benjamin. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Um, bit of Arabic. Love it. It's slang. Oh, okay. I feel like I want to translate some of this stuff, but how on earth am I going to translate this? I would have to write it out character by character. Maybe this is something that I do later, because otherwise we will literally be here all day. Oh, is that what that means, Sarah? It just looks so pretty. It just looks like a really, really pretty language. If I type this stuff in, is it going to come up rude? Sir. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I just typed in there. That is not, I hope that's not what anybody just put in the chat. You're not Welsh, you just like fun trivia. Yeah, I'm trying to Google Translate the other stuff, but I think I'm spelling it very wrong because some of this I really do hope is not what is being put in the chat right now. Right, Jag, Bo, E. Oh, I live in Germany. Oh my goodness, I feel like we're getting like a good language lesson here. Feel free to talk about the book whilst I'm doing this. Oh, and therein lies the dilemma. I was never going to be able to guess that. Awesome. If anybody else knows any other language stuff that I can translate, let me know. This is so much fun. Tunisian dialect. Awesome. This is making me want to go back to learning Italian again. German has no fancy letters, but a lot of interesting words, and it's very detailed. I quite like the sounds that in the German language, like the like pronunciations and stuff. Um, it literally means "May God keep you alive," roughly. That's funny. The Spanish was "to be or not to be." That is the question. That is indeed the question. Honestly, I've had so much fun in this live stream. You know what these book club live streams are like if you've been to one of mine before. They just end up in a mess, don't they really? We talk about the book for the first half and then we talk about whatever we feel like for the second half, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Shall we see how the leaderboard is doing? Sarah, you're in second place. You've got over 200 XP. You've got back up again. You were down at like third or fourth before. Great job. It's so interesting that there are super specific concepts that only exist in some languages. Yeah, I find. Do you know what I've always found really interesting? Is like the masculine and feminine parts. So I think it must have been in my German lessons way back in school, which was a very long time ago, where they have like the different what terms that you would use for the different masculine and feminine words. I always found that very, very interesting because we don't have that in English. So to have to like switch up the wording based on that, I just always found it very interesting. And I don't know how anybody remembers which one to use. It must just obviously be natural if it's your mother tongue. But yeah, that's the bit that used to confuse me the most was kind of what learning what term to use for masculine and feminine. Um, I have to ask, have you started The World of Ice and Fire yet? No, I have not, and I cannot believe that I have not. I've flicked through the pages and I've looked at the illustrations many times, but in terms of reading it, I actually haven't yet, and I need to. There's just been so much on my TBR that I've had to try and get through, and lots of like unexpected books have come up that I wasn't planning to read over the summer, but I've been on like a deadline to read them because a lot of them have been arcs. So I've had to prioritize those. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I will be able to chill out a little bit with my TBR over the next few months and start to read stuff that like is on it rather than adding to it. Um, oh, cool. We're learning about the beta letter in German. Oh, cool. That's what you meant. Oh, it looks really cool, doesn't it? It looks really pretty. I like that. For Italian, the way I'm being taught masculine and feminine is the Maria and Maria rule. Yes, I heard that. Duolingo taught me that. That is a very good way of remembering it. Yeah, so maybe for Italian, it might be a little bit easier for me to grasp that, maybe. And plus, I've already started, so I should continue. I know. Oh, I'm being outed here. Don't forget you promised LOTR. Yeah, but Lord of the Rings has been on my TBR since the start of the summer. And I said to myself I was going to read at least book one in the summer. Well, guess what? Tomorrow is September. Have I started reading it? No, I have not. But I would love to. And I also think that it might be like a really nice autumn read, like cozy, rainy day, come home from work, read Lord of the Rings all evening. That is what I'm hoping for. So soon, very, very soon. That's what I'm hoping. Have fun with German genders. They are completely random. I think that's why I gave up with trying to learn German, because I just could not grasp it. And I feel like if I can't grasp it, I'm doing a disservice to the language. Like if I'm just there pronouncing everything wrong and I'm not getting any part of it right, then no one in Germany is going to want to have a conversation with me. Whereas with Italian, people understood what I meant when I was there. People actually knew what I was trying to say. So that was a better sign. The lucky trials of a booktuber getting lots of arcs. I know these are the first arcs I've ever had as well, and I've had a few over the summer, and it's been lovely. But it just means I'm not getting anywhere on my TBR list because I'm reading arcs. But they've all been great, to be fair. It has been a lot of fun. But I'm hoping they'll chill out a little bit now. So, Babel. Enjoyed it. Is there anything else I want to say about Babel? Is there anything else any of you wanna say about Babel? I feel like it was a very deep book, but, like, so deep that there's just too much to say. How would you rate it? This is a tricky question. I feel like it should be a 4 star because of how brilliant the writing style was. I really enjoyed RF Kuang's writing style, so I feel like objectively it should be a 4 star. For me, I think it was a 3.5. Definitely not a 3. I don't normally do a point 0.5. I'm normally like a whole number kind of gal. But 3 definitely feels too low for this book. Like, how can you look at Babel and think that that's a 3 star? But for my 4 stars, so like some of the 4 stars that I have are like the Farseer trilogy ones, like Royal Assassin and Assassin's Apprentice. I both rated 4 stars. And I definitely didn't enjoy this as much as I do the Farseer trilogy. And even some of A Song of Ice and Fire, I rated 4 stars. So I feel like this can't really be in the same category as them because I definitely enjoyed them more. So for that reason, I'm rating it a 3.5 because 3 is definitely too low for how good, like for how well written it is and how deep the themes are and how complex the characters are. This is not a 3 star read. But I also feel like for me, it shouldn't be a 4 star because I've enjoyed other 4 stars more. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I probably am. So I think we've got a lot of 4s. Yeah, looks like we've got a lot of 4s. The general consensus is 4 out of 5. Um, I liked it. My first dark academia book, which seems all the rage on BookTube. Yeah, it was my first dark academia as well, and I think it was a good start. I think it was a good start in dark academia. It definitely makes me want to read more, and I would definitely read R.F. Kuang again. Um, she also has the Poppy Wars, doesn't she? That might be one that I might want to pick up soon. Um, something about German, because Deutsch is German, right? Ich spreche, I speak. I speak something German. See, I'm good at translating. I know a bit of German. I laughed hard when Rami made them go, yeah, through the gate. Yeah, it means prayer. Oh, need to get blood over Brighthaven. Yes. I speak a little German. Oh, okay. I probably should have guessed the rest of that phrase. Yeah, I want Blood of a Brighthaven and I want Sword of Kagan, however you pronounce it. I am curious as a British person how much of the dark side of the empire is taught in schools. Probably not enough, if I'm being completely honest. Um, which probably feeds into the stereotype that we are a bit ignorant, and it's because a lot of the history that is taught to us in schools is very selective, is what I will say. We're kind of left to do our own research if we want some of the honest truths. Yeah, she had one released last week, Yellowface, which is no fantasy but sounds very interesting. Yeah, I think I read not the plot, but like a summary of Yellowface, and it did seem very interesting. It did seem like one that I've not read before, so I don't know whether or not to pick that one up as well. Um, yeah, nothing in schools, a little at college if you choose history. Yeah, I feel like the main things that we learned in history were like Tutankhamun. I know a lot about Tutankhamun. Um, yeah, and that's all I really remember. Oh, and Henry VIII and his many wives. Finally, someone else mentions Blood over Brighthaven. I've just read the blurb. Stanis Baratheon, hello, Stanis the Manis. Thank you for joining us. How are you today? Wow, is that what you learned in school, Callum? I didn't learn any of that. It must be different depending on what school you go to as well, because I didn't learn any of that. I mean, to be honest, they never even really taught us much about politics in school, which I definitely feel like we should have been taught. Everything that I know, I've like researched myself or had conversations with people at uni about, but it was never like taught. Stannis is feeling amazing. The hot weather is killing me in Georgia. How hot is it in Georgia? Because I feel like it's hot here, but it's probably not as hot as where you are because the British can't cope with the heat. And to be fair, I think this room is hotter than it is outside, always. No politics. Yeah, no politics. Yeah, Callum said it right. Politics isn't an option till college. You have to like pick it like as an option once you're in college, but obviously a lot of people would only pick that if they wanted to pursue a career in it. I know that I didn't want a career in politics, but I also know it's very beneficial for me to know a lot about politics, as it should everybody. But but it's not taught in school. So if you want to learn about it, it's just something you have to do in your own free time. Oh, Stannis, politics mentioned. I study international relations and politics. You've jumped into the live stream at the right time. We're talking about politics in a book club live stream. Yeah, we've gone on to politics. We was talking about cake earlier. This is why I love these live streams so much. We talk about anything and everything. Yeah, isn't it crazy, bestie? I completely agree with you. Wasn't really taught on that particular era, to be honest. Yeah, I definitely feel like the stuff that we learned in school was very, very selective and was very, very like stereotypically British. Like they were very picky in what they wanted British people to learn. But it does mean that a lot of the stuff we've become like naturally quite ignorant of because we didn't learn it growing up. So you only hear about this stuff through talking to other people from other countries and then having to do your own research on it. All cakes are baked equal, but some are more tasty than others. That is very, very correct. So will that be Cake Farm by George Bakewell? Bakewell Tart, Orwell, Tush. Anybody get it? I was quite proud of that joke. um, all empires work the same way. See, some people are laughing. So this in Britain, all empires work the same way. Yeah, that's great. I like you guys talking about politics. Mostly they don't care, and that's sad because it really affects everyone. This is what we said. It affects everybody, but they don't teach it in schools. Um, which is what we were just saying. Like, if you want to know anything about politics, you have to research it yourself. But it's like most people won't do that unless they're wanting a career in it. But it doesn't really make sense. It should just be like a natural thing that's just taught. George Bakewell. See, I should have been a comedian personally. In my very unbiased opinion, I should have been a comedian. So, is there anything else political that anybody wants to say that is not going to get us banned on YouTube? It's very hot in this room, I must say. But maybe not as hot as it is in Georgia. You've made a very good point. The winners always write the story and make them look like the good guys. Yeah. Every like account of anything that's happened is obviously biased. So what is a fact and what is an opinion based on somebody's biased experience? I often think that when we were like looking, because when we were in history and we was looking at like journal logs from that time and the things that were put into like published books and articles at that time, I always wondered, but how much of this is like biased by the person who's writing it and how much of it is actually fact? It's like Fire and Blood, how the like testimonies in there are actually unreliable narrators because it's coming from different people's accounts and what they believed. So yeah, to be fair, Fire and Blood feels like it could be very real. When I was reading it, I forgot that it wasn't. That's how good of a book it is. Also, is anybody going to be reading Piranesi for the next month's book club? Let me know. The Histories and Lore from Game of Thrones gives you the multiple views. Yes, that's another one. That's another one where it's like unreliable narrators because they're kind of telling it all from their own different experiences, which obviously has their biases in there because they're viewing things through their own eyes. So the way that they retell it, they're going to tell it in a way that makes them maybe look a little bit better. So then it's not actually that fact. It kind of makes people look good when maybe they weren't in that moment. In Georgia, political situation is very serious. Our government is authoritarian, and we citizens try to fight that. I work in non-governmental institution, which has educational purposes, and I think something else might be coming. But that's a very insightful comment. Piranesi, are you going to be reading it, Callum? Are you going to be reading Piranesi for the book club? Unfortunately, also, if politics was taught in schools, I guarantee there would be, yeah, everything's controversial, that it was being taught in a biased way. I think that's the only thing, is that it would have to be taught in a way where the teacher didn't put their own views into it, and I think naturally that's very, very difficult to do because people understandably get very passionate over politics. So I think it would be dependent on the teacher as well, who's you wouldn't want them to force their opinions on a child. You'd want them to make their opinions for themselves, and that probably just wouldn't happen in the majority of schools. You hear Bobby B's version of his rebellion versus Viserys's version. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love the history and law so much, because they literally put like the two accounts together, and the ways that they're told, like one after another, the ways that they're told is just so different. But it's the same thing. Like it's the same thing that happened, but it's told in such a different way. And that's how I feel like history is. Like the way that history is told, it's the exact same way as that. I ordered yesterday some books, Piranesi, The Summoner, another Lord of the Rings version. Awesome. We've got Callum in the chat from The Summoner. Some really, really cool books that you've ordered there. And I'm glad that you've ordered Piranesi. I did buy Piranesi yesterday, but I don't think I put my copy up here. Is it behind me? I don't think it's behind me yet, is it? No, I don't know what I did. Oh, I just realized I have The Summoner. And I have Lord of the Rings. Where is my Lord of the Rings? Where is my Lord of the Rings? Oh, is that it? I think that's it there. Yeah, that might be it. Just panicked then thinking that I lost Lord of the Rings. I organised movie nights that had a political background. That is very interesting. Valerian's already read Piranesi or Smilesy. Well, I hope you come to the live stream then next month, so that you can tell us what you thought to it. Everyone leans slightly different ways, and their bias will always flow through. Yeah, I think that's the only issue with. To be fair, that's probably why they don't teach it to us in school, because people won't teach it in a way that's unbiased. We try to teach young fellows about politics through movies, books, and lectures. Hey, that sounds like a cool way of doing it. That sounds like a very effective way of doing it as well. They should teach us soft skills. Yeah, I also feel like very randomly they should have taught us way more about finances in school. They just didn't. They didn't touch upon taxes, finances, nothing. Like, how are we supposed to learn all that? Fire and Blood was my favorite read of all of the A Song of Ice and Fire books. I can definitely see why. Obviously, it's a very different writing style to the rest of them, but I can definitely see why that would be your favorite. It was so interesting. I really enjoyed it. You read Piranesi earlier this year. Super unique. Definitely go in blind. This is what everybody says. They always say go into it completely blind. So that's what I'm doing. I couldn't tell you a single thing about what it's about. I hope that means you'll come to the book club live stream if you've already read it, and if you're available, would love to have you there. Oh, Stannis asking the difficult questions. Which A Song of Ice and Fire character is your favourite? This changes a lot. So I think consistently it has to be Tyrion, because his chapters were the ones that I enjoyed reading the most POVs from. So I liked being in Tyrion's mind the most. His plot gets a little bit like not as engaging in Dance with Dragons for me personally, but he was still one of my favorite POVs to read from. So probably Tyrion. But then my other favorite would be Arya, because consistently Arya's storyline is the one that I find like the most interesting, the one that I just connected with the most, and I just think her character development is insanely good. So yeah, Tyrion and Arya. What are your favorite A Song of Ice and Fire characters? I saw you have Shogun. I haven't read Shogun yet, but I desperately want to, really, really badly. The only thing that puts me off is how big it is, because obviously I've got quite a lot of big books that I wanna read. I also want to read It this October, but that's over 1,000 pages. Obviously, I have The Lord of the Rings, so I really do wanna read it. I'm hoping I can soon. Probably January, though, if I'm being honest. That is also very historically rich. Good, because that intrigues me. Shogun is super cool, a tough read, though. Yeah, I can imagine it will be a difficult one. I'm gonna go into it, like, when I've read some light-hearted books, so I might read, like, a couple of light-hearted, easy books and then go into Shogun, because then I'm, like, refreshed for it. Stannis is the true king, though, Becky. He is the one true king. Isn't Shogun also super long? Yeah, I think that is over 1,000 pages as well. Oh, yeah, Callum's just said it's 1,000 pages. Favorite characters in the show? In the show, still Tyrion. Yeah, I think Peter Dinklage is the perfect casting for Tyrion. So I think it is. I'm trying to think of other characters in my head. Like, I'm going through them all and analysing how I feel about them, but I definitely do think it is still Tyrion in the show at the moment. Obviously, I've only just completed season 4. Tyrion in season 4, I need to just spend some time talking about that for a sec. He was incredible. Like, he was strong in season 4. Honestly, it was insanely good. Oh, so I'm reading, is it Cirque? Is that how it's pronounced? By Madeline Miller. Halfway through and enjoying it. The audiobook reader is very good. Awesome. I've heard a lot about that book as well. So you'll have to let us know if it's a good one, because if so, I might add it to the book club or just read it myself, because I do really want to. So yeah, you'll have to keep us updated on if you're on, like, if you continue enjoying that. James Clavell has others too. Yeah, because I've got 3 of them. I've got 3 in the series, I believe. Um, whether or not that's all of the books, I don't think it is, but oh, it's just come up with a thing to say that Rushy has been a member for 7 months. Well, thank you very much, Rushy. That's really cool. I wonder why it just came up with that. Is it your 7-month memberversary? It won't let me like that, but I really do. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate that. Um, Piranesi audiobook is amazing too. Ooh. See, I'm getting into audiobooks this year. This has been my year for audiobooks. Shogun, the show was excellent. You should do a reaction to that for your channel. Yeah, see, I was thinking that because I heard really good things, but I want to read it first. So the only thing that's putting me off reacting to it is because I want to read it first. So, but yeah, if that interests you in the future, then I definitely could do a reaction. I just don't want to leave it too long, otherwise nobody will care about the show anymore at that point. It's amazing to think that Arya and Daenerys are on their first roles. Yeah, so I saw Emilia Clarke in other things before watching Game of Thrones, so I didn't actually know that she was Daenerys. Obviously, everybody else knew her as Daenerys, but I didn't know who she was. I saw her in Me Before You. That was the first thing that I saw her in, and then I saw her in something else, and I remember really liking her. But yeah, I didn't know that it was Daenerys Targaryen. Oh, you think it's pronounced? Oh, it's pronounced the exact same as Cersei. Okay, awesome. Thank you. That is going to be very easy to remember. Thank you very much. See, I always like when I know how to pronounce something that I initially struggle with, because I had no idea whether this was Babel or Babel for the longest time. And then I learned that it is Babel. So then I was really happy because I felt like I could say the word more because I wasn't getting it wrong. The sad thing about the show is that they've changed Stannis's personality. As you can see, he doesn't treat Davos properly in the show, but in the books they have an interesting bromance. I have started to notice that actually. In the TV show, it's almost like Davos is like striving for Stannis's loyalty and affection more, but like Stannis is kind of shrugging him off. He's like, "No, you go away, Davos. You're not needed here." He's like, "You don't care about Davos," whereas I felt like in the books he cared about him more. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing that change. Also, how have you not seen any spoilers before watching the the Game of Thrones show? That's amazing. I actually don't know how I have managed it. To be fair, I am quite good at like spotting something on social media and knowing instantly that it's going to be a spoiler and then just like averting my eyes away. Um, but I have almost spoiled stuff for myself because I'm subscribed to a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones YouTubers, and I like to watch their videos, but then a lot of the time they talk about the show and I have to immediately switch off. Like something almost got spoiled for me the other day, but like my ears tuned on to like the start of the sentence. So I think he'd said something like, "Oh, like what we saw for Daenerys's character in season," and then I clicked off because I was like, "He's gonna spoil something." So yeah, I think I'm just skilled at avoiding spoilers. Are we done with Babel? We don't have to be if you've got more to say. If you've got more to say about um Babel, please let us know. Like I think I've finished all of my opinions on it. I think there'll probably be more that I remember that I forget to say after this live stream. But if you guys have more that you want to say about Babel, please leave your thoughts and opinions. Um Overall, I found it deep. Deep AF. Thought provoking, powerful, hard hitting, but very dense. Not for the faint hearted. Um, Made me feel smart at times and then dumb at times. Made me learn a new love for language. Made me want to learn more Italian. Made me want to be multilingual. There you go. Those are my thoughts on Babel. Hope you enjoyed it. Um, Tywin was one of the biggest upgrades in the show. Charles Dance was too perfect. I want him to read audiobooks for me. Oh my goodness, is his voice not just perfect? That man has the most beautiful voice I've like ever heard in my life. Um, Deep AF, yeah. I'm sure RF Kuang is thrilled to know that she's put so much research and thought into this book and she's put so much of her energy and her brain power into it for me to describe it as deep AF. Yeah, that's what she wanted. Um, oh, you just wanted to mention a channel, Human 1011, 1011. Ooh, that sounds interesting, Sarah. Thank you. I'll have to make a note of that. Show Tywin had wise aura. Book one is more brutal. Um, yeah, we love his voice. We do love his voice so much. Well written and thought provoking is a good summary. Yeah, and to be fair, I think that's what she wanted to achieve with it. Um, Overall, enjoyed it. Would read it. Would read another RF Kuang again. I liked Davos's Irish and Stannis's British accent. Yeah, I must say the accents are confusing me a little bit in the TV show. They do seem to be a little bit all over the place. Like Ned Stark was so Yorkshire, but then like nobody else is. So it's just that's the only thing about the TV show that can maybe pull me out of it sometimes. There are very, very few characters that were done better in the show, but Tywin is one. I agree with that, to be fair. He was done extremely well, and the way that he delivered his lines, Rip Tywin. I'm very sad that we won't see much more from him, or any more from him. For me, it was really interesting and also no chill read, but I really liked it for several reasons. Yeah. And one of these reasons is that it gave me some new views of some topics. Yes, it gave me some new perspectives on things I didn't think I would have new perspectives on this year. And it also made me want to learn more about people's experiences that I can't relate to, um, such as, like migration, language, culture, all of that good stuff. Like it really does make me want to read more books about those kind of topics. So yeah, overall it was really enjoyable. It was a good pick for the book club. Davos was Geordie. That's funny. To be fair, they say Westeros is like an upside down UK. So I'm trying to think at what points everybody would have been at, what points they would have all lived at if they were in the UK. Alice Rivers is by far the worst offender of the random accent for no reason. She just has a strong Scottish accent. It's incredible. To be fair, Pedro Pascal delivered his accent incredibly well. Even though even though it was, I don't know, like, are they meant to sound like that from Dawn? I don't know, but he sounded great. His voice was beautiful. It's like a melody. That's just his accent. I mean, it sounded great. So we're coming up to over an hour. I say this every single month that I try to keep these to be an hour, and then I babble on for too long, and it goes on for over an hour. You get it? Tush, because we babbled. Pedro Pascal is from your side of the world. What side of the world is that? Forgive me, but I don't actually know where Pedro Pascal is from. Let me Google it. Oh, I'm putting Pedro Pascal into Google Translate. Pedro Pascal is from Chile. No way is he 50. There is no way he is 50. He is. He turned 50 this year. No way. Sorry, I've just never seen someone look so amazing for 50. Chile. Awesome. Which Pedro Pascal death is more traumatizing? I mean, obviously, it kind of has to be Game of Thrones, but I'm not gonna lie, The Last of Us one really hit me. Like, in terms of the season as a whole, it was a bit meh, but his death. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry if I've just spoiled The Last of Us for anybody. I lied. Pedro Pascal's not in The Last of Us, and he definitely doesn't die. The showrunners said they casted Pedro Pascal first, and then just basically told everyone else they subsequently casted from Dawn to do similar to his accent too. That's hilarious. He set the standard. Oh yeah, we've got some carrot cake emojis. Actually, Rushy, you should have put those the other way around because at the moment it's cake carrot. You've put cake carrot, not carrot cake. Oh, Chris! Oh, thank you for joining us just as we're about to end the live. How are you doing? Thank you for spending some of your Sunday with us. Babel was absolutely brilliant. What did you think of it? So I think the general opinion that we can all agree on is that it was very dense, very informative, very information heavy, but so hard hitting, so deep. The themes in it are very thought provoking. It made me think about things that I didn't think I would this year, and it's given me a newfound respect for language and different languages. And for some reason, it's made me want to pick up learning Italian again. I don't know why. What did you think to it, Chris, before we end the stream? No way would Pedro Pascal have been in his late 30s in Game of Thrones. Oh my goodness, he would have. No, I don't think he looks late 30s in Game of Thrones. Wow. I think you should cut your reaction to Oberyn's death and make it one of your YouTube shorts. It was hilarious. Well, thank you very much. I need to post more shorts, to be fair. Honestly, I've been loving doing the reactions because when you're so engrossed in the TV program, you genuinely forget that you're filming. So it's like I put the camera on, I do my intro, then I watch the episode, and by the time the title sequence is gone, I'm essentially just talking to myself watching it, which I tend to do when I'm just watching random TV programs anyway. I'm very vocal with my opinions, even if nobody's in the room. Does anybody else do that? Does anybody else just like say things even though nobody's around to speak to? So yeah, this is why I just love doing the reactions because it doesn't really feel like I'm filming, and it's just funny. Yes, Sarah. Oh yes, Stannis. Yes, I found my people. I just do it all the time. Like even the other day, I stubbed my toe and I just went, "Ouch, that really hurt." And then I was thinking, why did I say that out loud though? Why couldn't I just think, "Ouch"? Why did I have to say it? Do you know what I mean? Like I just speak on impulse. It's weird. Oh, Sarah says she speaks a lot. Yeah, yeah, me too. I'm glad. I'm. You know what? I'm glad I found you guys. You make me feel a lot better. So, we're gonna end the stream. Does anybody have any final thoughts before I leave you to your Sunday and to your final day of August? I need a drink. Um, that's how you perfected your English. So what I need to do when I stub my toe is I need to say ouch in Italian, because if I say things in Italian more, I'll learn it more. To be fair, I know my coffee order in Italian. Un caffè con zucchero e latte, per favore. I was proud of that. Stannis clenches their teeth. Cool. I think I do that in my sleep. I think my dentist said I grind my teeth in my sleep. Excited to talk about Piranesi next month. Me too. I'm even more excited to read Piranesi because I've had very good things. And it's also not very long. It's like a really short book, I think. You're the opposite. Sometimes you don't talk for days and you're not sure if you still have a voice. If I didn't talk for days, I don't think my voice would work. It's barely working now. I've been talking for too long. Had a shower thought recently. They're the best kind of thoughts. Are the living portraits in Harry Potter the magical equivalent of AI? Oh, don't say that. You're going to actually send me into a crisis. Yeah. So really, the magical portraits are real. I don't think it'll be long until we could put like a picture frame up and it'll be moving. Like I could put a picture there and it'll be moving because AI will get that far. Didn't you buy an Italian book? I did. I did look at it when I was in Italy. Have I looked at it since? No, I haven't. But the intention is there. And sometimes it just takes having the goals, and then at some point you can work on them. But right now I just have the goals, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to like pick it up and read it at some point soon. Maybe this should be my New Year's resolution to like actually learn more Italian. Look it up. It trains the mind to speak and think and make sentences in your target language. Oh, so I need to do the next book club live stream in Italian then, and then I'll learn it more. Have you heard of or read Beast Quest? I haven't. Would you recommend it, Jack? Learn Georgian. Go teach me a bit of Georgian then. What should I learn? Let's turn this into a language lesson. You have a Game of Thrones in Italian. Yep. I think you got it for the cover, but you could give it a try. I do want to. It's just there. There it is. I did buy it for the cover because it is stunningly beautiful. But I did actually want to read it side by side with the English Game of Thrones when I reread it. When I reread the series, I want to try and like read them together so I learn a bit of Italian that way. I hope that I actually do that. I'd love to. It's a kids' fantasy series, so probably not, but it's really good. To be fair, I don't mind reading kids' stuff. I actually don't. Like, especially because you can get through them quite quickly, because obviously if they're tailored towards a younger age range, then it's not going to take me as long to get through it. I can kind of whiz through it quite easily. So I wouldn't be opposed to reading a kids' fantasy series. I bought a Japanese book, but I tried it one time and learned, and then I will never read it. Oh no, is this going to be me with the Italian Game of Thrones? So am I going to try and do it and then learn that I just can't? Oh, there's a few hundred of them. Okay, maybe I won't get through them very quickly then if there's quite a lot. Oh, so Gamma Joba means hello in Georgian. Ooh, this is the writing and the letters. Again, that is a very pretty language. That I love how that looks. That looks very nice. I probably have not pronounced that well at all, so I do apologize. So does anybody have any final thoughts that they want to say before we end the stream? Thank you as well, by the way, for all of your thoughts and opinions on Babel. I always really like these live streams because it just helps to get your thoughts and opinions off your chest once you've finished a big book like that. I'm excited to see what people think to Piranesi. The live stream for that one will be on the final Sunday of September, which is the 28th. So, hope you all enjoy September until we meet again. It's elvish letters. Oh, beautiful. This was lovely. Have a nice rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Carrot Cake, and for the support. I really do appreciate it. You wanted to remind me if I'd sorted a Discord server. I have not yet. That is on my to-do list. I definitely need to look into doing that. So if anybody would want to join the Discord server, please do hit me up, let me know. I will enjoy. I have a birthday. Oh, well, hope you enjoy your birthday, Stannis. Happy birthday for September. Rushy says, what's the secret project? You will find out tomorrow. My secret project is being uploaded to my YouTube channel tomorrow. So I hope that people like that. It's a bit different. It's a bit new. But I'm hoping that people will like it anyway. And if not, you don't have to watch it. You're turning 19. Oh, you youngster. Back in my day. Well, I hope you have a good 19th birthday. Bestie would enjoy the Discord. 19 does feel very young. Oh my goodness, my calendar just fell off the wall. Wow, that was terrifying. Okay, well, that's the end of my calendar. Yeah, 19 does feel young. Oh, the last time I was 19 was a very long time ago. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so look out for tomorrow for my secret project. Keep your eye out for my Discord because I will make that at some point. How old are you? You look 20 something. Before I end the stream, how old do people think I am? I'd like to see if anybody gets it right. Too old for DiCaprio. That is very, very true. Some good guesses coming in. Rip your Pedro Pascal calendar. Somebody needs to get me a Pedro Pascal calendar for Christmas. 30? Stannis, I'm offended that you think I'm 30. Oh no. It's bad manners to ask a girl's age. I'm not going to tell you guys the answer, but somebody has got it right. That's all I'm going to say. So you guys can guess. I'll tell you the answer eventually, but I like to keep people guessing because people come up with so many different answers that it's quite funny. Rushy, that is not the correct answer. I wish it was, but it's not. But somebody has put the correct. Yeah, excellent. Carrot cake has got it. Excellent. Carrot cake has got it. I'm actually from the future. See, like I am living AI. The plot thickens. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being 30. But I am not. So if I look 30, then I would feel like I need to put some anti-wrinkle cream on, you know? You have a video 10 years ago and now you still have the same looks. Yeah, to be fair, somebody commented on that video and asked if it was my daughter because they didn't think it was me. But yeah, it literally is from about 10 years ago, isn't it? You look 12 in those videos about your braces. So what is it, guys? Do I look 30 or do I look 12? Stannis is 34 and he looks 60 something. Was Stannis 34 in Game of Thrones? What I would have put. Oh, I don't want to say what I was going to say. I would have put him in 40s. Oh no, not in the show. Oh, you mean the actual Stannis, not the actor. You mean the character Stannis is 34. I thought you meant the actor. Oh, the actor's 58. Okay, the actor was 58. Oh, but that's great. I just complimented him then because I said he looks like he was in his 40s. See, I never want to say people look older than they are. But that's fine. I just gave him a massive compliment then. Podriven looked pretty good for like 100. Yeah, I wouldn't put him a day over 99. Oh, I like that comment from Bestie. You look mid-20s, but the way you act isn't mid-20s. More like you've seen a bit of life. I like that. Awesome guesses. Ding, ding, ding to the person who got it correct. But you don't know who you are. Hey! But it's very easy to find out. So, just to round off the leaderboard for today, we've got some very good contenders in the leaderboard. Excellent Carrot Cake has won with 850 XP. In second place, we have Sarah with 300. And in third place, we have Rushy with 250. So thank you very much for all the support and for spending your Sunday with me. Not all of your Sunday, but for a little chunk of it, you've spent it with me, and I really do appreciate that. Um, I'm going to end the stream now because I said I was going to 15 minutes ago and I didn't. So thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously, we've got the next live stream in about a month's time to talk about Piranesi and whatever else we want to. I will be uploading a video tomorrow on my YouTube and on Thursday as well. And then twice a week from that point forward. Oh, I'm glad that you like the streams. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. It was so nice to chat to you. Have a good rest of your August, and I will see you in September. Bye.